Good evening and welcome to SUTV News for Wednesday, May 1st, 2013. Well, this week, SU celebrates its 18th annual Multicultural Week. On Tuesday, Nair Tolliver went to the showcase and brings us that story tonight.
We're here at the Multicultural Showcase as a part of the Multicultural Week sponsored by SGA. Many organizations such as WINC, the Students of the Caribbean Association, and APIC participated in the event to perform different aspects of their club to show to the student body.
As we have become more diverse, more multicultural, I think it's significant that we recognize those who are our students, our faculty, and our staff are represented by many, many different cultures. So the whole idea of having a multicultural festival or a festival week has been one that was planted many, many years ago.
I'm in a multiracial club, which one is like all different races. Mostly there are people who are 2 or more races. The dance we did was Bollywood dance. It was from India. Even though we are from Nepal and India, it's like mostly same, so we just call a Bollywood dance.
I mean, we love teaching people about our culture because, I mean, obviously, if you're any sort of ethnicity, which everyone is, you like to spread the word, you know, you just like to express yourself.
Can you tell us a little bit about the dance that you all performed tonight?
We did a traditional Japanese disco dance, which was popular in about the mid-70s. The other 2 dances were anime dances, which deals with the anime manga variety.
The Bulak Laklan, it translates to the flower dance. It's beautiful, you saw all those colors with the arches on the flowers and things like that. And we wanted to incorporate it with modern dance style of today and things like that. So yeah, we added some dubstep, so just had fun with it.
And I hope that in the future that we'll continue to have a multicultural festival and bring all the multicultural groups together for this really, really significant activity.
As you just saw, the annual Multicultural Showcase is a big hit here at campus. It's all about bringing awareness to different cultures and ethnicities throughout the world and here. For SUTV News, this is Nair Tolliver.
And students and members of the community packed the streets of downtown Salisbury for the 31st Salisbury Fest this Saturday. Kim Newcomb has that story for us tonight.
We're here in downtown Salisbury for the annual Salzburg Festival. This is a 3-day event with music provided by local musicians, great food, shopping, games, and activities for children of all ages. The Salzburg Festival incorporated many different aspects of the Salisbury community and was a family-oriented event. The main goal of the annual festival is to support local nonprofit organizations. In its 31st year, the festival attracted many people. Carnival rides were running all weekend while local businesses provided concessions. On Saturday night, the International Beer Festival was held after a 5K run walk that morning and events throughout the day. An attraction called Arts on the Plaza was set up from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
This is my first year at the Salzburg Festival. I've had the business since 2005. It was nice. I think we had a lot of foot traffic come through. Hopefully we can have the economy improve so people could afford to buy more. But I think we had a lot of interested people. I'm glad to see that they're interested enough to come down and see what arts are available.
I make wooden boxes, but they're themed towards fireside kindling boxes. If someone has a collegiate interest, or they want to celebrate an anniversary, or they want to have something that evokes something that they're involved in, a fraternal organization or alma mater or something, I'll build a box for them and then I'll paint it according to whatever they like. There's a fair amount of traffic, and it's a very nice locale. I mean, it's the old section of Salisbury. It's interesting. A lot of people, and a lot of people are interested.
From downtown Salisbury, I'm Kimberly Newcomb for SUTV News.
And even with all the construction taking place on and around campus, it's safe to say that the bulk share of attention and excitement has been focused around the new library. Zach Kapanowski talked to some of the staff on the project and brings us that story tonight.
Blackwell Library is one of Salisbury University's oldest buildings at 63 years old. This month, designs have begun for a new library facility called the Academic Commons. Beatrice Hardy, first-year Dean of Libraries at SU, came to Salisbury primarily for the new facility.
Having the new library here is a very exciting opportunity for certainly the library staff and for me as well. I think it's really going to enable us to do much more to support the faculty and students of Salisbury University.
With over 8,000 students, the current library can only hold 500 people. Hardy says Blackwell lacks even basic necessities for a 21st century student. Jeffrey Downs, SU Director of Architectural and Engineering Services, says the Academic Commons is designed for today's learner.
We're going to make it student friendly in that there'll be lots of glass, lots of quiet study areas, lots of assembly areas, a few classrooms.
There are presently 8 LEED accredited projects on campus. LEED is a prestigious national energy and environmental design program.
We are committed that all of our new designs and most of our renovations, when practical and feasible, will be LEED credited.
The $100 million academic facility will be built where Carruthers Hall currently stands. Plans have the Academic Commons opening its doors by the spring of 2016. In Salisbury, I'm Zach Kapanowski reporting.
And today, President Eschbach sent out another email inviting students to attend a donor announcement on Thursday at 1 p.m. in the Great Hall of Holloway. SUTV will be at the announcement and bring you the details on that next week. And as the weather continues to improve, we start to see more foot traffic on and around campus. Tonight, Stephen Graves brings us what state and school officials are doing in an attempt to keep pedestrians safe as they travel.
Salisbury resident Jimmy Jackson slowly crosses busy intersections like this one on a daily basis. After being hit by a car at the age of 8, he's even more cautious when crossing roads.
It's very slow of me walking across there, you know, when the traffic's wide open with crutches and stuff.
The Maryland State Highway Administration says between 2007 and 11 there were more than 100 pedestrian-related fatalities.
It's a huge focal point in the State Highway Administration, in conjunction with officials in the town of Ocean City, have devoted a lot of time, effort, and resources.
In recent years, the number of fatalities has decreased slightly. Officials say doing simple things like using crosswalks, looking both ways before crossing, and wearing brightly colored clothes at night can help pedestrians safely cross busy streets.
If we don't be on our P's and Q's, then something liable to happen.
Police crash reports indicate the pedestrian is at fault in 70% of related accidents. Salisbury University Police Chief Edwin Lashley says more attentive drivers and pedestrians are the key.
It's something that we will attempt to educate, and we'll put focus on each and every year.
The SHA's goal is to cut Maryland's motor vehicle-related fatalities in half by 2030. In Salisbury, I'm Stephen Graves reporting.
And for this week's Campus Connection, we learn about Towson's very own big event, what Frostburg has cooking, and how College Park is taking major steps to encourage students to go green. Catherine Carmine has those stories for us tonight.
This week on Campus Connection, we will hear about another campus going green, the University of Maryland Eastern Shore's latest award, and Towson's big event. Salisbury University is the only school taking steps to go green. Commuting students at the University of Maryland can receive a 25% refund of their parking permit's initial cost and a free bike by handing in their parking permits. This incentive to commuters is part of a plan to encourage the campus to go green. Students who agree to turn in their parking registration and to become ineligible for parking during the next year would receive a brand new $200 Fuji hybrid bike, a helmet, light, U-lock, and students will also be required to take a bike safety class. And the University of Maryland Eastern Shore brought home first place in the International Food Service Executive Association Annual Culinary Challenge. The competition allows only 90 minutes to prepare 3 samples of an appetizer, entree, and dessert. Each year there is a new mystery ingredient which causes teams to take time to plan the menu. Students were also able to take home information learned in classes, workshops, and networking at the conference with food service professionals. And on Saturday, April 20th, Salisbury University held its 9th annual Big Event. On the same day, Towson University held its own. The Big Event is a program devoted to students doing community service projects. It takes place on a number of campuses annually. Towson had over 800 students participating this year and did work at 37 different sites. For Towson University, this is the biggest program of the year, and the community was grateful for this year's accomplishments. That's all for this week's edition of Campus Connection. Be sure to join us next week for more campus stories around Maryland. This is Catherine Carmine for SUTV News.
And now Stephen Sineme brings us the latest news from SU's Flyer.
Welcome to the first edition of This Week in the Flyer. I'm editorial editor Stephen Sineme. With the next to last issue of the semester on the stands, picking up a copy of the Flyer is more important than ever to stay informed on national, state, local, and campus news. On the front page, it is impossible to miss the major crime story, or should I say the major crime prevention story. After events like the Newtown shootings and Boston bombings, the campus police are participating in extra training programs to make sure that devastation of the extreme level never sees the light of day on the SU campus. Also on the front page, read about a few of the research projects that were presented at the Salzburg University Student Research Conference, including a presentation by math major Edward Martin about the Moneyball phenomenon in Major League Baseball. In the editorial section, a fan favorite returns. After being absent from the Flyer for almost the entire semester, Party Girl Problems columnist Abigail Colby returns with an article about the best things about college life, among them bagel shops. In the Goal Life section, editor Amanda Biederman's highlight of the very inspirational last lecture given by communications professor Dennis Leosakis is very well worth reading. If you missed the lecture, reading the brief but informative highlight will definitely make you a better person. In the sports section, writer Amy McFarland delivered this week, writing the section's only 2 articles, both of which were very well worth reading. Read about the men's tennis team's advance to the Capital Athletic Conference Championships. We wish them the best of luck and hope they bring home the gold for the Seagulls. The other article in sports is a spotlight on our very own pitcher, sophomore Dylan Anderson. Read about how this young pitcher has accomplished so much at only his second year at SU. For these and many other fascinating stories, make sure to pick up an issue of the Flyer. It's free, so there's nothing to lose. This is Stephen Sineme, signing out.
And as Salisbury's lacrosse, baseball, and softball teams continue to rack up the wins and navigate their way through the playoffs, sports correspondent Kat Murphy brings us an update and gives us some information on what's to come.
The Salisbury University men's lacrosse team is coming off a 20-8 win in the Capital Athletic Conference semifinal game over the University of Mary Washington to advance to the conference championship game. The Gulls are 14-4 and 6-0 in conference. Salisbury will host St. Mary's College of Maryland this Sunday at 1 p.m. at Siegel Stadium in the CAC championship game as they play for their 18th conference championship win. The women's lacrosse team remains at number 2 for the 11th straight poll as Salisbury looks to capture its 11th consecutive CAC championship, and with it, an automatic bid into the NCAA Division III Women's Lacrosse Tournament. The women are still undefeated with a record of 17-0, and with a win over St. Mary's College of Maryland, senior Lauren Forcerens moved into the number 5 spot in the program history for goals scored with 5 goals on the afternoon for Salisbury. York and Salisbury will face off this Saturday, May 4th, with the CAC crown at stake. The contest begins at 1 p.m. at Siegel Stadium. The Salisbury University baseball team is currently 30-7 and went 3-1 last week with wins over Washington College, the College of Staten Island, and Stevenson University. Salisbury banged out 18 hits and used a 7-run 5th inning to put the game away against Stevenson. Senior right-hander Andrew Levy improved to 9-0, joining teammate Dan Feen in a tie for 10th place on the SU list for single-season wins. The Gulls will play Montclair State away on May 8th. The number 3 Salisbury University softball team extended its Capital Athletic Conference Championship run with a 1-0 victory over Frostburg State University on Saturday afternoon at the SU softball field to claim its 18th CAC crown. Salisbury is 35-2 and entered the day as the only unbeaten team in the double elimination tournament and ended the tournament as senior Carly Reed's sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 4th would plate freshman Katie Sabane for the only run in the contest. Salisbury will now await the announcement of the NCAA tournament field next week to find out where they will be heading to open up play in their quest for the national championship. That's all for SU Sports. This is Kat Murphy for SUTV News.
And on Friday, the world of country music lost one of its biggest stars when George Jones died after he spent a week at the Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville. The music legend, who is known for hits such as She Thinks I Still Care and He Stopped Loving Her Today, had been suffering from a fever and high blood pressure. Laura Bush, Bob Schieffer, and country music stars such as Alan Jackson are among those who will be eulogizing the star. And earlier in the broadcast, we mentioned the men's lacrosse team making their way through the playoffs. Well, for tonight's Campus Spotlight, Stephen Jenkins brings us the story of one Seagull who is doing his family, friends, and teammates proud.
I wasn't really thinking about lacrosse, really, but it was always in the back of my mind. It was one of the overall goals. It's in December they diagnosed me with leukemia.
By the time he was diagnosed at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he was in the hospital by 5 p.m. with a port put in, and they started the chemo right away. 8 grueling months of chemotherapy made him very, very sick. His last dose of his last treatment started shutting down his body. It's that potent, that toxic.
You know, I saw him in several states over his journey where I wondered if I'd see him again, type of battle.
So everyone's pushing him to get back, and you could just see on his face how bad he wants it.
Just walking with my teammates next to me really is the best thing about walking through that tunnel.
I'm very proud of Alex, you know, and what he's accomplished over the last 3 years to get back onto the field.
Salzburg University goal by number 6, Alex
I really just have like a good support group around you. It's really what gets you through it, because there's only so much you can do on your own.
Now, this sophomore's battle is not over, as he is still taking up to 20 pills a day. Alex is also fighting to regain his role as a starter on the team. This Friday, you can come out and support Alex and others battling cancer as SU hosts Relay for Life. And with that, that concludes this week's episode of SUTV News. Thank you for joining us, and good night.